Hello and welcome to our questions web chat on how does Swift GPI Payment Tracker work. We are joined again by Stanley Wachs, the Global Head of Banking Engagement and Global Payments Initiative at Swift, who previously worked at PayPal and Western Union. Stanley, I believe the Global Payments Initiative is probably the most important development in payment systems in the last decade. And particularly important part of this initiative is a payment tracker. What is the payment tracker?
Good morning, Jack. And indeed, the payments tracker is a game-changing tool that will enable banks and corporates to track, a little bit like DHL or UPS, where you can track a parcel. Here, with the Swift GPI Payments Tracker, we will provide the ability to track payments across the Swift network.
So, how does it work?
The payments tracker is a tracking database hosted at Swift securely that will be provided to banks, who in turn will decide how they want to offer it to their corporate clients. And it will enable several things. The value of the payments tracker is that not only will it help show where a payment is along the chain, meaning from the time it has been sent to the time it hits the beneficiary's account, it will also provide transparency on the fee structure, meaning end-to-end the fees that have been involved in the transaction from the time of send to the time of receive. This will be able to be achieved through a unique tracking number at the top right on your slide. This tracking number will enable to follow where a payment is across the chain. It will also, this payment tracker, provide information on how long the transaction has taken from the time of initiation to the time of receipt, meaning to the time the transaction actually has landed on the beneficiary's account. The payments tracker, as you can see on this page, will in one page provide a one-stance global overview on the entire payment journey. Details of banks, as well as I mentioned, all the details around the transparency on the charges, as well as the time a transaction has taken. That's what the payments tracker is about, and will be available in its graphical user interface already by the end of this year, and then will be officially launched in April 2017.
The tracking number, is that different from the other numbers that are used by banks?
So yes, this new unique transaction reference number is a transaction that will enable the identification of a GPI transaction.
So this is a whole new concept in terms of Swift's numbering.
It's a new way to identify these GPI-based payment services that will provide a same-day, faster, more transparent, and more trackable payment service across the Swift network, indeed.
So what are the benefits then of the tracker?
So for the banks, there are clear benefits. Firstly, it's an opportunity to reduce operational costs, less time spent on investigations and claims, especially in the back office. We have received tremendous support, especially in back office operations departments, validating the benefits of this concept. Faster investigation of claims, of non-receipt claims, and also in terms of innovative-based payment services, banks will be able to offer their corporate clients a new service that provides really solutions to some of the key pain points that corporate treasurers face in terms of lack of precision, certainty on when funds have reached the beneficiary. For the corporate clients, indeed, tracking a payment is a huge benefit for a corporate treasurer that often says that when an international payment is sent, it's like a black hole. You never really know where the payment is and when it has reached destination. So really a multitude of benefits for both banks and especially corporate customers.
And the tracking number will be used in all the banks in the chain, so they will all know the same number.
Exactly. That's how a payment is able to be tracked end to end across the chain, and you are able at any time as a bank to see where the payment is across the different actors in the chain.
Does the corporate have to insert any new information in their payment instruction?
So banks, again, this tracker will be offered by banks to their corporate customers. So banks will and are currently deciding how and what they want to expose via their channels to banks. We are, however, exploring in parallel, as some banks have suggested, how corporates could potentially get direct access to some information in the tracker. But that is still in exploration mode. The current focus is indeed banks will decide how and what they want to expose to their corporate clients in terms of this tracker information.
Sounds like some interesting conversations are being held behind closed doors. How do you see and expect the corporates to use Payment Tracker?
Well, the payments tracker, again, will provide a lot of benefits to a corporate who will know when a payment has been sent and when it has been received on the receiver's account. Secondly, the information around the transparency on the fees, knowing what the full amount sent and received has been and the charges involved, will also help corporates in terms of reconciliation of invoices in particular. So this will be a tool used not only to track, but also to better manage treasury efficiencies, supplier relationships. Corporates will definitely and should find a lot of value in this Swift GPI tracker in the cloud.
And similarly, the banks, as you said before, are going to find it much easier to chase unreceived payments and other problems. Are there any additional benefits for the banks?
So, it is about also providing a much better payment service quality to their corporate clients. So there's a significant opportunity in terms of maintaining, growing their own customer base, providing a better payment service to their corporate clients, positioning themselves as leaders in payments innovation.
And as you said before, the banks are going to differentiate themselves as to what amount of information they give, what access they give, what charges they make. These are all individual bank decisions.
Yes, and this commercialization aspect of GPI is indeed something that the banks will decide. As of now, what I can say is that indeed banks on GPI that will have access to the tracker will decide how and what they want to expose to their corporate clients as an additional service, really to provide a better quality service and enable corporates to track transactions around the world.
And finally, coming back to the delivery dates, precisely when are things going to happen?
So that's a great question. As you know, we were successful in 2016 through a pilot that we conducted with 21 banks from across the world. What we now know is that as of Q1 2017, so very early next year, we will go live, meaning the GPI service will be fully available. And several banking institutions are estimated to go live with GPI throughout 2017. In fact, we're looking at a minimum of 30 banks across the world in all geographies that will be live with GPI-based payment services. This would include not only the payments tracker, but also the two other products, a directory that will show which banks are GPI enabled and live, and lastly, what we call an observer that will enable the basically tracking of banks that are adhering to the new set of business rules of Swift GPI. So all in all, we should see a tremendous additional momentum as we get into 2017 and a general live service available in Q1.
Thank you. Most interesting, and clearly a revolution is starting to happen in Swift payments across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack.